To pray, there's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. Now, whenever we last left off, more Supermen have appeared. Now, with that being said, within the following weeks, things would be getting odd. It has been a month since these Supermen have arrived. And, well, it's kind of odd how to put it. The first Superman that was out of order was this one with the visor that clearly had a different outfit design. That one was more robotic, as most people describe it. It was, well, quite simply, it calls itself Eradicator. It bears Superman's mark and his name, but it says that he will eradicate anyone. And he's already proven himself to be a violent murderer. He is not Superman. While you do have Steel, he does at least appear more and more and more. Along with the Superman we believe to be the real one. The teen Superboy, he is still at least around, trying to at least get popular and throw around his fame. Clearly, this kid doesn't care about anything. He's more obsessed with his own popularity than he is with actually saving people. He was Superman anyway. So, they're not going to give him that title. So, it's between the Steel guy and this other Superman. These two are at least pretty good. They have met and seen each other, but other than that, it wasn't really odd. Along with that, after Superman came back, he decided to try and use more of his Kryptonian technology. Something that was already a red flag to begin with. This technology, seemingly he can get from out of nowhere. He can find it and start to at least help people with it. Arming the police forces and actually civilians. Basically allowing him to give quirkless people power. Along with people with odd and strange quirks. To try and help out. They can fly, have enhanced abilities, along with enhanced reflexes. Now, this still does not make sense, as we do have a meeting at the Watchtower. They've finally been able to get everyone here. Along with that, Midoriya, he's being granted a seat here, along with Jiro, since they did at least help out and try to save the Man of Steel. If it wasn't for their efforts, the battle could have had a lot more casualties. Along with that, Hal Jordan himself could not arrive, and they do need a lantern to relay the information, so it works out perfectly. As the meeting would begin, Batman explained that over the past month, he's been trying to figure this all out. Clark doesn't act normal anymore. He's not sure if it's because of his accident or one other possibility he has. Everyone sitting at the table just staring at Batman, as he would just say that from what he's heard from Lois, he's been different. He doesn't stay at home, he doesn't talk with his own son, and in fact, he doesn't sleep anymore. He doesn't try and hold up his secret identity. Sure, people know that he's Superman, but the guy does like his own privacy. If he's not too bothered with that anymore, then that is a big red flag. So I've been brainstorming, coming up with multiple theories. And one of them I didn't like, until I found some backing to it. As he would just pull up a security feed. It's showing Batman walking straight past Superman with kryptonite, holding up behind him as the rock basically just glows. Superman remaining unaffected, the two having a normal conversation, until Batman does put it back into his lead casing for it. And asks Superman exactly what is he going to be doing today. Him just saying that he's going to be going on another patrol. Since Crown doesn't sleep, neither should he. As he would leave, Batman just at least waiting for him to get out of the watchtower before he does continue on with his own research. And say that along with that, he does notice something. Under a special light, Superman has been leaving behind skin cells and hair follicles. Usually he never leaves this sort of stuff behind. In fact, it's practically so hard just to get a drop of blood out of the guy. So, coming back to it, I've been investigating. Now, before Batman can even give this evidence, there would be a bit of a situation back down on Earth. As a screen would pop up and show the news. The Eradicator, as they call him, is attacking Lex Luthor. The teen Superboy and Steel are already on the scene, trying to fight him, and actually take him down, since he's basically already murdered a few people. Now, this is where Midoriya would just run out, saying that he can go handle that, along with just asking exactly if they can find anything they can, then just hurry. I can go down there and try and figure out the situation. As he would leave, Geo chasing directly behind him. The two heading back down to Earth and immediately making their way straight for the place they need to go. As soon as they do arrive, the Eradicator is about to blast Lex Luthor, after knocking down the Superboy. Midoriya throwing up a shield and actually being able to protect him from the Eradicator's blast. Midoriya coming down to the ground and just saying that, he always had a feeling that he wasn't Superman. It wasn't just those blasts, but the fact that you kill. As he just lands, the Eradicator stating that he is interrupting something. Luthor is a known criminal, and in fact, he will be considered a criminal assailant if he does help and let Luthor escape. Superboy getting back off the ground and just saying that, why do you have a stick up your ass? For the Eradicator to at least turn around and blast him backwards through a building. That being whenever the cyborg Superman does arrive, getting in between Midoriya and the Eradicator. The Eradicator beginning to blast as the Superman would bring his hand up, and it would be coated and covered in this material. As him and the Eradicator would begin their fights. Midoriya just watching as the two throw each other around and try and take each other down. As this is a bit odd. As one thing would happen. The next time the Eradicator gets thrown to the ground, and Cyborg Superman go to bring his hand up to smash him downwards, the Eradicator would blast him directly in the face, with a very, very damaging blow. Superman actually bringing his hands up and covering it, as he begins to move around. And he turns it to reveal half of his face is metallic. Midoriya being confused and kinda shocked. As the Superman just turns his head back and immediately just blasts the Eradicator with heat vision. The two going back and forth. Lex Luthor just saying that that's new. Midoriya is running over to him and encasing everyone in a bubble, getting them the hell out of there. Steel is still trying to fight and help, as Midoriya would finally come back in. And he is at least thinking, okay, just remember, this needs to work. In brightest day, in darkest nights, as Midoriya just began to chant the Green Lantern oath, holding up his right hand as the yellow ring and the green ring would begin to glow, along with his ultraviolet ring. Midoriya bring his other hand with the red ring and the star sapphire ring, the two covering each other in power. As Midoriya would begin to say an oath he created, something that is personally for him, throwing out his hands as much as possible, the power coming off of his constructs, as he encases each of these two in wrappings and completely engulfs them, as they at least stop for 1 minute. The cyborg Superman turning his attention to Midoriya and telling him to let go of him. He needs to make sure this guy can't take down Luthor. While the other one is just saying that he is interfering with the hero law. You are aiding and obstructing me from capturing a known criminal. Midoriya is just walking over and bringing his hand up, creating a construct wrapping around this thing's mouth. Basically putting him in a... what is it? Something to shut him up. I would say he puts him in like a mask just to stop his head from moving so he can't try and blast any of those rays either. Anyways. No. He would then just turn and ask exactly what happened to him. You're different. As his voice turns metallic. You're just saying, yeah, so what is this? As Jiro comes in, throwing up her own hand and immediately just wrapping around the Eradicator's face. Midoriya confusedly would turn around and see the power coming off of him, as he sends a loud explosion everywhere. Midoriya being sent flying from the blast of the cyborg Superman, basically just breaks free of these chains, and then runs forwards, grabbing the Eradicator by his hands, and the two begin to struggle as they continue on, as they throw each other through multiple buildings, and begin to tear apart a lot of the city. Midoriya getting back up, and asking Jiro if she is okay. Her just saying that she is fine, as he tells her that they need to work on that move again. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Yup. I know exactly what you're talking about. As you begin to smirk a little bit. As Burning Desire and Red Crimson would kiss. A very passionate one. Along with the fact that whenever they do pull away, they are actually supercharging their love for each other. And then heading into battle. Midoriya increasing his willpower and beginning to feed off of his own rage, along with his fears. He needs to make sure that he can protect everyone. If he doesn't, people will die. That is what he's afraid of. More death. Ever since Superman died, he's felt nothing but fear. He was almost left unable to use his Green Lantern ring. But he had support. People didn't, reject him as Izuku Midoriya. They welcomed him. They understood. They helped him. They saved him. something that has failed before. As Midoriya creates his own Air Force, and actually begins to float upwards into the air, creating and making a giant suit of armor. As he's almost the size of an entire building, all these pieces of each core being shoved together. It's looking like you basically mixed a bunch of pieces from a Lego set together. As he sends his Air Force directly in, all of them flying in and beginning to blast away at these two Supermen, as they do fight. Jiro doing one thing. She creates ground troops, and begins to at least try and fire into and take down these guys, using her own rage. Now, with that being said, everyone is basically being evacuated as these two do at least try and restrain the Supermen and stop their ongoing battle. Steel coming back in and being able to smash the Eradicator across the face with a hammer. And Midoriya is seeing that, asking Steel what is he doing here. You needed help. Besides, you two alone can't get in that battle. Huh. We were doing pretty fine before you arrived. Well, take a look again. As he watches the Eradicator blast away some of the ground troops, Midoriya is sending in his Air Force again as he himself charges in this giant mech suit, being able to smash into and send the Eradicator into the ground. Along with throwing up his hand, he just blasts the cyborg Superman with more willpower. As soon as he does so, he begins to just blast away, over and over and over again, as he switches it up, each one of his fingers glowing into a different color. The gauntlet basically forming each lantern corp on each finger, as these 5 emotions would blast into and lay into the cyborg Superman, tearing away the fake skin that is covering his cybernetics. Now, they would basically expose him. As whenever Midoriya does do that, the Eradicator tries to get Midoriya, well, out of his suit, as he tries to smash through his arm and blast into it with more of these beams. Midoriya just throwing his leg upwards and smashing down into the Eradicator, stomping into him over and over and over again. He's been in a fight like this before, against impossible odds, and this is not going to end like last time, as Steel tries to at least take on the cyborg, calling him a fake Superman, a cheap imitation, throwing his hammer across his face. As soon as it collides, the hammer would shatter against his face. Cyborg Superman just bringing his hand up and grabbing this pole, and then just beginning to squeeze down, bending it and just grabbing Steel by his faceplate, saying that if he's a cheap imitation, then what is he? He is a man playing dress up, pulling the faceplate off and crushing it, saying that he is nothing more than a man, not a Superman, that is it. Before he basically just sends his hand over his head and smashes it directly into Steel's face, as he basically leaves a dent on the top of Steel's helmet, sending him barreling into the ground. Jiro rushing in as she creates a giant pillow and catches Steel before flying in herself, creating a giant gauntlet on her arm as she throws it outwards. And the gauntlet shoots forwards, blasting off and smashing directly into Cyborg Superman's chest, knocking him backwards. As he just says that, does she really believe that she can take on Superman? Well, I might not have any rings like Crimson does, but hey, as she begins to make herself a suit of armor, at least focusing on it. She needs to make sure she connects everything properly so her constructs are strong. If she doesn't make her constructs strong enough, he's going to shatter them like glass. as she finally forms the pieces around her, covering her entire body as she would just drop a helmet down, creating it. As she just throws out her arms and begins to fire as many bullets as she can, using love. Superman just bringing his hands up and trying to block these, or at least just punch through them, as she begins to fire off missiles and try to hit him. Now, with that being said, she is having trouble, but luckily, they do have a bit of backup. One thing happening, as there's a green blast sent flying through the air, and it hits Cyborg Superman directly into his back, giving Jiro a chance to send off a missile, hitting Superman directly in the chest as he gets it flying backwards with an explosion. And Midoriya and Jiro return to see Bakugo, telling them that they really need to stop hanging out whenever they're trying to fight someone. Long time no see, asshole. You're telling me. Now, Midoriya returns to see him, as he feels himself supercharged, looking to see that Bakugo is rocking out another Green Lantern, another ring. It's not green, it's not red, it's blue. This being odd, Midoriya just saying, what the hell? As he hears his ring say that he is operating at 300% willpower. Midoriya just thinking that that is perfect. So, as he would rush in towards Cyborg Superman, Jiro doing the same. The Eradicator is temporarily taken down. He does need time to reboot his systems and then get back into the fight. As Midoriya will rush forwards and throw out a construct, Cyborg Superman going to stop this with a punch, or even just bring his hand up to block it. The construct actually hitting Cyborg Superman's hand and bending it. Midoriya throwing out his other arm as a giant fist would come out of it, and smash Cyborg Superman across the face. And makes it backwards more, Midoriya creating one of his giant mech suits once again, except bigger and stronger. Jiro doing the same thing, as he would rush forwards. Bakugo basically just creating his wall of weaponry, throwing out both of his hands and creating the missiles, the explosives and RPGs. Anything he can think of that is heavy weaponry, he is going to use against this guy. As he himself would charge in and send the weaponry forwards. He's creating tanks, airplanes, helicopters, and he's even created a small nuclear warhead. This nuclear warhead isn't actually nuclear. It's just the best thing I can say. Anyways, as soon as he does rush in, he basically throws this across Superman's face, hitting him and sending him flying. Midoriya being able to come in and kick him as hard as he can, sending upwards into the air, throwing out his hand and wrapping around purple chains, pulling him forwards as Bakugo would throw out the weaponry, beginning to shoot Cyborg Superman to his back as he throws his bomb directly at his face. It's going off. Kayako coming in and immediately just smashing Superman with both her arms, laying into him over and over and over again. Him getting back up and getting serious, ripping apart the chains, and grabbing Jiro's hands, as he just tears the mechanized suit's arms off, and begins to lay into her, being able to rush forwards and immediately grab the construct, pulling it upwards into the air and smashing it down, before taking off into the sky, ripping it apart, telling her that she is nothing without those rings, and that he will prove it to her. Midoriya and Bakugo blasting off after him. Midoriya is going after him faster than Bakugo, as he catches up and grabs Superman by the back, trying to put him into a full Nelson, telling him to let go of her. As he just tries to bring his hand backwards and grab onto Midoriya, telling him that Darkseid was right. What did he ever see in you two? Midoriya confuses Superman, who would begin to at least throw around these tendrils, being able to have it form and move around, grabbing and latching into Midoriya's back as he begins to bury in. Midoriya actually begins to scream as he just throws him forward and smashes him downwards towards Bakugo, before just tearing apart Jiro's suit and trying to choke her out, telling her that Darkseid wanted to take care of you himself. But if he insists, or if I need to, I guess I'll just kill you here. As his eyes fill with heat vision, and he's about to let off the blast. Jiro, she's in complete fear. Then again, she knows this emotion. She's felt it multiple times. She's felt powerless, and she's not doing that anymore. Throwing up her ring and blasting him with as much rage as possible, along with teleporting away. Whenever he let go for a split second, she used the love power, teleporting straight to Midoriya, as she's able to help him, getting him off the ground and saying that that was risky. But it worked. As Cyborg Superman would come back in, along with the Eradicator getting back up. Midoriya is still supercharged, as Cyborg Superman tells him that this was a waste of time. I have business to attend to elsewhere. Now, as he would just take off flying, saying that you two should really stop playing hero. With that being said, the Eradicator would just scan the area and begin to try and assist civilians. These two at least taking a deep breath. Now, as these two are taking a deep breath, Bakugo would just land and stare at these two, asking them if they are alright. Midoriya just looking up at him and immediately walking over, throwing out his hand just saying, "When did you become a Blue Lantern?" Oh, yeah, that's a funny story actually. I've changed a lot since I've entered UA. The USJ, the heroes versus villains. Yeah. Looking back on things, it was childish. And I'm glad I can put that behind me. Midoriya actually in shock. Who the fuck is this guy and where's the actual Bakugo Katsuki? Midoriya then posing a question. How can he use both power rings if they're opposite emotions? Midoriya, they're not opposite. Greed and hope. You have to hope everything's fine. In fact, I do need to go home and meditate. It does at least help me try and focus on my quirk a bit more. Oh yeah, you still have one of those things. Oh, shut up, Quirkless. Okay, King Explosion. Hey, that's King of Greed to you. Fine, whatever. Now, Bakugo will go flying off, as we do have Batman on comms, asking if everything is alright. Midori just saying that everything is fine here. They were able to at least try to save Lex Luthor. The Eradicator is currently assisting civilians. Apparently it changed its parameter, taking its focus off its intended targets. Batman just saying that that's good. What about Superman? Well, that's not Superman. I'm sorry? Can you repeat that? Bruce, that's not Superman. That thing is a cyborg. Or a robot's? I'm not certain. His hand looked real, but whenever I blasted him with enough of my power, it all just went away. A lot of the flesh stripped from his body, and revealed the robot parts underneath. From what I could tell, most of his arms look metallic. I think he's completely metallic? I'm not sure, some of the flesh didn't go away. Batman just saying, what does he mean? Midoriya then just say that along with that, he also mentioned Darkseid when they were fighting. Darkseid should have killed them, but he will gladly do it right now. Him just saying that that man is not Superman. As the two would walk over and look for Steel. Now, wherever they do find him, they do have to take him back to the Watchtower. Teleporting in and actually arriving there. As they try and get him out of his suit. Cyborg hacking into it and taking it off. As the man underneath is very, very injured, being given first aid and medical treatments. Them basically helping patch up his fractured skull and possibly broken bones. Now, he would have woken up a bit of time later, finding himself to be not in his garage. Batman has already done a full background check on the man. He used to be a pro hero, but he gave up his license. After it expired, or well, he was considered to be reckless with his power, he had it taken away. And he couldn't get it renewed until he went through certain training and courses, along with paying a fine. Him choosing instead to just walk away from life, returning after Superman died. He decided to take on the mantle of Steel to try and be a different hero, be a different person. Now, with that being said, you do have the events back down on Earth. Hal Jordan is trying to figure things out in his town. There's something going on here. People are acting odd and, well, a lot of them have joined into and onto that Superman initiative. So, that's at least good, he thinks. Either way, he's just happy that people here are happy. As one thing begins to happen. Around him, he suddenly begins to get overwhelmed and attacked. As the people wearing these suits begin to change, some of them screaming and begging for help. As they would just stop and be completely overtaken. As we do have them trying to attack and trying to take over the city, trying to enforce their own martial law on it. Now, with that being said, I do believe I can leave it off here, because if I do try and go into this in more detail and more, then this is probably going to be an hour longer than it already is. So I believe I can put this into 3 separate parts. Anyway guys, I do hope you enjoyed, and have an amazing night. Catch you guys in the next part.